Hello, this is Dr. Tim Harrison, and I'm coming to you from the Institute of Advanced Studies in Religion and Philosophy, also known as my back bedroom, my home in Bristol, Virginia. And I'm joined here by my graduate assistant, Tony Blair, the Airedale. Blair just got a haircut. She's very proud of it. Now, we're here to talk about the Old Testament, and particularly the fall of the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom and what takes place when this happens. We see that the Babylonians will come in and will seize the city of Jerusalem, and it comes about because of very poor leadership, and very soon we see that they are taken away. Now, when they take people into captivity, they're only taking the intelligentsia, the great managers, the educated, the ruling class. Those are the only people they take with them. So they do leave a few people behind. It's not like they just wipe out everyone there, which some people think. And it's an interesting situation because most of the time when this takes place in the old ancient cultures, people are assimilated and they're gone. One of the things we don't understand is what happened to the 10 tribes of Israel, although it does seem like a remnant may have survived. Now, for those that are taken from the southern kingdom, it's very different. They hold to their values, they hold to who they were, and they eventually will come back. They'll be restored, as we will see. Now, this takes place around 586. When the destruction of Israel takes place and they're taken into captivity. They're in captivity in Babylon for a while, and then they go to Persia, and we see in about somewhere around 520 they come back. We're not sure of that date, but it's around 520. So we're close to that date, but we're not absolutely sure which year it was. Ezra and Nehemiah lead the people back, a remnant, great deal of people back into Jerusalem, and this is the reestablishment of the kingdom of Judah. Now, they were deported, taken out. Jeremiah writes about this in the book of Lamentations, a very sad book if you've ever read it. Lamentations means a funeral song, and it's the funeral song of a dead city as he describes Jerusalem after the destruction. Jeremiah actually escapes. He goes down into Egypt. We don't know what happens to him after that point. But it talks about Jerusalem as an abandoned widow and how they are punished for their sins and what they've done, and it talks about God's righteousness. This is going to be a theological struggle for the Jewish people. If they are God's chosen people, why did God choose to allow a bunch of pagans and idol worshippers to punish them like this? And they develop what is known as a theocracy around this, the idea of suffering. Some people are left behind. Most of these were farmers and people of low skill. The people of high skill and high education were taken to Babylon, where they were put to work. And so this is very important to understand, that the religious leaders and the people who are taken are really the cream of the crop. And the people who are left behind try to maintain some of their Jewish beliefs, but again, many of them were assimilated and adopted some of the culture of the people in Canaan during that time, unfortunately. Now, eventually, things will change because Babylon is going to collapse. This is going to be very interesting. When we talk about the book of Daniel, there is a fascinating thing that takes place that shows us how important archaeology is to the study of the Old Testament. They will fall to the first superpower of the ancient world, the Persians. And the Persians will rule until Alexander the Great, the young king out of Macedonia, will come and conquer the world. And then we'll see the people being restored during this time, right after this time. And they will have a confrontation with the Greeks as well. Persians are actually the ones that let them return. The decree of Cyrus. Cyrus was the Persian king that was very close to Nehemiah and Ezra, mostly Nehemiah. And he allowed the people to come back. They came back first with Ezra. They were going to rebuild the temple, rebuild the wall, but they ran into a lot of issues. Ezra was a great priest and spiritual leader. He helped the people in this respect, but he was not a very good leader. And so things did not get done. And that's why Nehemiah comes. And Nehemiah, because he worked for the government, worked for the king, was an excellent leader, an excellent organizer. And he gets things done, as we will see. Now, Ezra helps bring about some of the reforms. He's trying to reinstitute the Mosaic Law. There was a problem with marrying foreign wives because, again, they were bringing different ideas and stuff into the camp. But later we see that what the Jewish people were told to do was divorce these women. And the decree that comes out of Malachi, the prophet Malachi, we see he says that God hates divorce. If you marry a foreign woman, don't divorce them, but raise your children and expect that she is going to worship the true God. Now that's sort of how they renew that. Now, Nehemiah comes along. Nehemiah was a very interesting guy. He organized the folks and rebuilds the walls of Jerusalem first, and then he's able to rebuild the temple. And he's an excellent study. If you are interested in leadership studies, Nehemiah is an excellent person to review and look at and see how he gets things done and how he organizes people and inspires people by getting things done. Something we could use today in our leadership as well. So these are the guys that lead the restoration, the rebuilding of the temple, the rebuilding of Jerusalem. This is during the Persian time. Very soon the Greeks will destroy the Persians and take over, and we will see a little bit of that in the coming weeks. Now we're going to be looking at some of the books and some of the writings and stuff around this time and how the people deal with this very difficult question. Why did God let these heathens do this to us? So until next time, this is Dr. Harrison.